What's going on, guys? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. Today we got the official on the water preview of the Skeeter Owners Tournament, Lake Fork, Texas 2022. We're going to show you guys every fish catch that we get today. We're also going to tell you why, how, exactly what we're thinking along the way with every fish catch to try and give you guys every advantage going into the Owners Tournament. So you guys stay tuned. Oh, it's a giant, dude. Come on. Got him. Yeah. All right, Skeeter owners, guys, there's you a good under. First bite of the morning. Down here, channeling our inner John Cox on the dam, throwing a topwater walking bait. And these fish in the summertime, they will get on these deep water transition spots like the dam. Like you said, good under right there. Let me tell you about this bait right here. This is the Catwalk from 6 Cents Fishing. Phenomenal walking bait. Not a big fish by any means, but that might get you some money in the Skeeter Owners Tournament. That one is just about right for the under the slot limit that we have here at Lake Fork. But this bait right here, fish tangle my line off my hooks. This bait right here, the Catwalk from 6 Cents Fishing. If you'll take note, see that V at the bottom of that bait right there? That thing right there makes it a phenomenal walking bait. It makes it really, really easy to walk, and it makes it a very effective bait because anybody can walk it. Even if you're new to walking a spook or whatever, it makes it easy. It walks in the wind and the waves. It walks in calm water like we have today, but just a phenomenal bait. If you want to get your morning started right at the Owners Tournament, you need to get some 6 Cents Catwalks. They're at 6centsfishing.com. When you order them, y'all know what to do. Use that code, your Lake Fork Guide. You'll save 10% on all orders. Guys, like we said, deep water, what I call deep water transition areas. And what that means basically is that the fish have access from shallow to deep water. And why that's important this time of year is we get into summertime, you know, these temperatures heat up, these fish spend a lot of their day in deeper water. But what they like to do first thing in the morning, and it's, you know, we're not here super early. We didn't get started till the sun was up this morning. But in the Skeeter Owners Tournament, you guys will be starting at first light. And really, the earlier you are, kind of the better this bite is. But those fish will get on areas where they can access shallow water and get right back in deep water. Well, there's not much better areas that exemplify that on Lake Fork than the dam, or even like bridge corner ripraps, you know, bridge aprons, things like that. You know, that's an obvious steep drop off. Even though we do have a lot of bottom contours in Lake Fork, a lot of this lake and this land around us is pretty flat, you know, compared to other places. So they don't have just super steep drop-offs all over the lake, but right here on these bridges and dams, we do have kind of a deep to shallow water transition that goes really fast. And these fish will pull up and pin these shad up shallow next to this dam and feed on those shad. And it's why they're willing, even though my boat's sitting in 12 or 13 foot water as I go down this dam, those fish are willing to come up 10 foot to eat that bait. Because that's what they're doing. They're pushing shad up and then running up and eating those shad. As you just saw, caught that first good under the slot keeper. Hey, on our guide trips, we've been catching some big slot fish doing this as well. In fact, you guys saw John Cox during the Bassmaster Elite Series event doing the exact same thing right here on this spot. And to be honest with you, that kind of clued me into it. And then I started running it on some of the bridges. And then today, I just couldn't help myself, man. It was such a cool bite that I saw John Cox doing in the Elite Series. I wanted to come get a part of it. So one cool thing about the Elite Series being here is you always learn something while they're here. And this year obviously was no exception. And John Cox taught me that I can go throw a topwater on bridge aprons and the dam. And we caught some damn fish, you know what I'm saying? Here we go. There we go, decent chunk. We got that hook in there good now. There we go. All right, now that's actually going to be just a solid slot fish. I mean, sure, it's fun to catch. Won't do you any good in the tournament, but we've now pulled offshore. We got here, I think, a little bit too late. Let's go ahead and get that good looking Lake Fork bass back in the water. So I think we got here just a little bit too late for that topwater deal. As you guys have been seeing, the sun's pretty high in the sky already. It's getting on about 8:30 in the morning now, which you know that's been daylight for a couple hours. So only got the one bite on the topwater. It can yield more bites than that when you're doing that pattern. But now we've pulled offshore, grabbed our first spot, and guys, we didn't even see a whole lot of fish down there. I can only mark a few fish on this spot. If we get a good school of fish, I'll show you guys how they're setting up on the graph, what they look like on the graph today. But man, that's the key right now, is get that top water bite early in those deep water transition areas and then go offshore. And the best bait we've had offshore lately has been this right here. This is Big Perm. It's actually called the Smash Tech Magnum Crawler. You can get this bait on tacklewarehouse.com. You can get it in the tackle stores around the lake, including Lake Fork Marina has a huge selection of Smash Tech. But that little color right there, as you can see, kind of purple in the sky, but in your hand, it's brown. It's a weird color, but that fake out color, if you guys watched the video that we did in-depth instruction on this last week. Just a really, really good bait. It's been our most consistent and our best bait offshore. What you didn't see is I actually got bit on the first cast, swung and missed. On the second cast, caught one. Now we've got third cast, and the question is, will we get another bite? What's going on, guys? Billy Lawson from your Lake Fork guy. I want to tell you about a new product we got today. As you see behind me, Lake Fork is super low. It's tough to navigate. What I want to do is allow you guys the ability to learn how to navigate this lake just like a pro. Let me introduce you to the Your Lake Fork Guide Pro Lanes. It's a boat lane ship. There's many out there. I feel like we've put more time and effort and information on this one. You're going to have lanes in every corner of this lake. You're going to have more hazard waypoints that tell you whenever underwater obstructions get close to these marked lanes that we have. We have variable running depths available on these lanes. We have lanes marked that are good at 6 foot low and higher on the pool elevation of the lake. We also have lanes that are marked good at 3 foot low and higher. Once we reach 3 foot low and higher, guys, you'll be able to run to almost any corner of this lake using the Your Lake Fork Guide Pro Lanes. As you'll see behind me, you can see the underwater obstructions. You see that patch of timber right there? Obviously, you wouldn't want to run through that. But if you pick this lane right over here, man, you can fly right through that no problem. And that's exactly what we've done while the lake is low. Is go out and mark all the usable areas and ways to navigate into them in the gaps between the timber that's under the water through the entire lake of Lake Fork. So go check them out at yourlakeforkguide.com. You can order them there online. You can also buy them in person at the tackle store at Lake Fork Marina, and go get yourself some Your Lake Fork Guide Pro Lanes and navigate Lake Fork just like a pro. It's a good one. Another solid slot fish right here. That's a good one. Give that one an old ear scratch. Look, folks, you scratch them behind the ears. They come back and see you when they get bigger. But that's another really good slot fish right there. Hey, you just saw that shot of the graph. You saw how tight those fish were at the bottom. They were so tight to the bottom as we graphed over those fish as we're showing you now. You kind of saw that one stump there, fish sitting beside that, and then behind that, several literal on the ground. That was the first cast into that school of fish. Quite a few fish in that school. We might be able to get a pretty good little group of fish biting here. I gotta get this one back in the water, keep casting, because the faster you catch, the faster, I'm too excited. The faster you cast, the faster you catch a lot of times in these situations. Good fish. Here we go. Little guy. Oh, I lost him. You guys just saw me lose one right there. I don't know, just maybe a little too big of a bait for that fish or whatever, but that was actually looked to be a really good tournament under again. So same size, I mean, same school of fish, but even though we're catching slot fish, we're catching unders. Hey, we've been catching overs on guide trips at times in these same schools of fish. These offshore schools of fish this time of year on Fork, man, you really don't know what you're gonna get. It could be any size at any time. The key is just staying on them, graphing them, finding them, and then catching as many of them as you can and hope you get the one just under the slot or even an over. Here we go. Oh, this feels like a big one. This one feels a little bit bigger. That's a good one. Not no giant, but this thing sure a good one. It's running at me. It's pretty big. Get up here, baby. Not a bad one. Post spawner, skinny, not as big as I thought he was when I set the hook on. Boy, he was, for as skinny and poor as he is, he sure was strong. Big perm worm, man, it gets it done out here. It's just as steady as you please. It'll catch them up every day. Here we go. Another good one. That one's almost and under. That's going to be another slot fish. That one's really close to being an under. That would be one that would hurt your feelings in the Skeeter Owners Tournament. We're catching them all, big to small, folks. We're catching them all on big perm offshore on Fork. Sucker ran at me and got me. Right by the console. There we go. Little one, little bitty sucker. Little teeny baby. Hey, Princess Laney, what do we call these?
Just a baby.
He's just a baby. He's a feisty little booger. He's just a baby, and he tore my worm up. Oh no, he's bleeding too. All right, looks just like a bass, folks. A little bit smaller though. Oh, he's pulling all of a sudden. Oh, it's a big one. Oh, it's a big one. Oh, it's a giant, dude. Oh my gosh. He's going under the boat. You want to see how we boat flip big ones out here? Come on, big one. It's a stud. See, folks, overs live out here too. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Talk to you about this. We switched worms. We switched over to a little divine shaky head worm in a new color called Blood Apple. Divine shaky head worm from 6 Inch Fishing. Tell you about that here in a minute. First, let's tell you about this. It's not going to be quite an over, but it's real close. Not quite an over. That is a stud, probably about 7-pounder or so, maybe a little more. That is a big one, a big one, as they say. It's a beaut, Clark. That's a beaut. Come on, baby. She sat there. I'm pretty sure that fish is just used to being caught, because as long as I held her tail, she wasn't even kicking or nothing. As soon as I started to let go, she got an attitude. I think she threw her middle fin up at me right there, boys. The old middle tail fin. All right, guys, so you've seen us throwing the big perm Smash Tech Magnum Crawler in that fake out color, old Panky. Looks pink. Looks brown. You don't really know what color it is. The reality is that you see this one, I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty torn up. So I'm actually running out of those. I kind of tore up my last one, and I don't really have any that are in that good a shape. So I actually switched over to a 6 Cents Divine shaky head worm, and this one is in the color Blood Apple. Now it is smaller than the Magnum Crawler. They do make them big like this, and even bigger than the Magnum Crawler from Smash Tech. But as you can see, there's a little bit of size difference, not too much. This is kind of the middle-sized Divine shaky head worm. But this Blood Apple color, this color has been a great color on Lake Fork and the old Zoom worms and everything else. It's always been a really good color. In fact, this has been my actual favorite summertime color on Lake Fork for a lot of years. But switched over to that, and wouldn't you know, the first bite I get on it was the biggest one of the day. So I think we're gonna stick with the Divine shaky head worm for a little while. So we've kind of fished this school out. I've been fishing it for a while after that big fish. Can't get any more bites out of it. I don't know if that big one pulling up on there scared them all off or what happened, but we're gonna run around, see if we can graph up a few more and catch just 1 or 2 more for you before we head in for lunch. All right, guys, I want to tell you guys why it's so important that you run a boat lanes chip here at Lake Fork. With the water being low like it is now, it's never been more important. You just saw that buoy right there. You see our boat is positioned right on our pro lanes. This is the Your Lake Fork Guide pro lanes right here. Now, with the lake being low, there's some issues that go on out here at Lake Fork. If you'll notice right there, that little red dot says hazard, right? Well, guys, those are stumps that right now you will hit with your boat. They are right under the surface. I mean, these are stumps that are putting you and your gear and your equipment and your who knows how many dollar boat in danger and in jeopardy right now. And on the Your Lake Fort Guide Pro lanes, we have these hazard waypoints marked anywhere they bring your boat into danger. If they're near one of our lanes, we've got hazards marked if you could hit them. So it really is an important thing to do right now. You can get the Your Lake Fort Guide Pro lanes at yourlakefortguide.com or Lake Fork Marina. Lake Fork Marina is the only store that has the Your Lake Fort Guide Pro lanes. We've gotten some good feedback. I've gotten feedback from customers that are locals to Lake Fork that have told me they've run all the different boat lane brands that are out there. Hands down, they prefer ours over the others. We've got more lanes, we got more information, more hazard waypoints, and just a lot more detail. We've got variable running depths, as we said before. You're just gonna get a lot more information on the Your Lake Fort Guide Pro lanes than you will anywhere else. Well, guys, that's going to do it for our on the water time today, man. I went and looked at another school or two, found a good school, and I just couldn't get them to bite, to be honest with you guys. That last fish catch that we caught was at about 10:30, 10:45. So we did all of our fish catching in right around 3 hours, maybe even a little less than that. Every fish you caught was caught in that time range. Spent about another 45 minutes or so looking and fishing and didn't catch anything else. But wanted to bring the princess on the camera to give her a big shout out and a big thank you. And you guys should be giving her shout outs in the comments too, because all the footage you guys are watching today, or most of the footage you guys watched today outside of the GoPro footage, was shot by the princess herself.
Yep.
Great insight as always, babe. Also, the editing that is done on this video was done by the princess. That's right, she is trying her hand at editing these videos, and we may become the dynamic duo of YouTube bass fishing.
That's right.
Probably not, but we'll keep making more content. What it will do is it'll allow me to make more content for you guys. We'll be able to, if I have somebody helping me with it, we'll be able to get more volume of content to you out on all platforms. So please do follow Your Lake Fort Guide on YouTube here, subscribe. Facebook, go follow the Billy Lawson Lake Fort Guide Facebook page as well. And on Instagram, it's Your Lake Fort Guide, and on TikTok, it's Your Lake Fort Guide. So please do follow all of that. Now, for the summary of the preview of the Skeeter Owners Tournament, the deep water to shallow water transitions, like the dam, like the bridge ripraps, also shallow points. Talked to Cody Mays on the water today. He was fishing next to us earlier in the day when we caught the second fish of the day. I think he was on the point right next to us. Spoke to him. He said they had some topwater bites. They got out earlier than we did. They had a lot more topwater bites than we did, but they were catching them just on shallow points where it transitions to deep water off the side of those shallow points. So same type of structure, just instead of concrete, it's hard packed dirt, shell, rock, clay, all those type of things, but it's just about that deep water to shallow water transition. First thing in the morning, you can really get right using that 6 cents catwalk in those situations. Then after that, it's all about your electronics. We're going to drop a video on Wednesday giving you guys a lot of details about my console electronic setup. I'm going to show you guys everything about how I use my electronics, what my settings are, the different things that I tweak and change in my Lowrance electronics at my console. That video is coming Wednesday, but really it's about getting out, using those electronics, graphing those points, graphing those humps, graphing those road beds. And sometimes, guys, these fish aren't exactly on top of the peak of the structure. Like that school that we caught most of our fish out of and caught the big one out of, that school was out off the side of a point, kind of in a little bit of a weird area that most people wouldn't even probably look. But because we graphed all around and have our electronics tuned up right and know how to use them correctly, we're able to locate that school, and boy, did it pay off. You guys saw us catch fish after fish out of that school for a little while, ending on that really, really big one that, as they're watching this video, just happened a few seconds ago. It's kind of weird when you're out here and it's been like an hour since you caught it, but for them it's been like a minute.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy weird.
Great insight as always, babe. Seriously though, big shout out to Lainey. Big thank you to her for doing the videoing, the filming, and the editing on this video. Y'all give her a shout out in the comments. And thank you guys for watching as always. We'll see you next time right here. Where are we going to see them, babe?
On Your Lake Fort Guide.
At least she knew what to say.